My name is Aileen O'Donoghue and I work with Archways. And the programme that we're talking about is the Incredible Years Parent Programme. We initially selected the programme because a group of stakeholders in the area were concerned about emotional and behavioural difficulty and the impact it was having on children, families, and even within the classroom. So what we hoped to do was find a programme that would impact on emotional and behavioural difficulties. So the reason we selected Incredible Years was because it had a very long evidence base. It's been around for more than 30 years and it's been shown in lots of evaluations to be successful. Secondly, because it was a programme that could be implemented in a community setting, and that was very important for us. And it could be delivered by professionals from a wide range of disciplines. It probably took a year to a year and a half for us in terms of the process of looking initially at the problem that we were trying to address, which was emotional and behavioural difficulty, and then doing a scoping exercise to see what kind of services were out there to address that issue. And finally then looking at different programmes that might meet our needs. So the first piece, we commissioned a piece of research that was actually called In Trouble from Day One. And that's a quote from a parent about her child and the impact that emotional and behavioural difficulty had on him. So that piece of research was paid for by Clondalkin Partnership, and that took, I suppose, about 3 to 4 months. So when we realised how big an issue it was for children and families, we then did an exercise looking at what services were available in the area and found actually that there were very few. The CAM service was there, but it tended to not so much to focus on parenting, and yet the research we did showed that high quality parenting programmes were likely to have a major impact on the problem. So the steps for us, as I said, involved in getting to the implementation stage, involved that 2 initial pieces of research, and then looking for the resources to take it to the next level. And money, I suppose, is always a big issue for organisations. We were lucky in that we made an application for a national lottery grant, and that allowed us to do the first piece of the work, which was to hire a researcher to actually identify the programme and see about introducing it to Ireland. Having had the resources and the person to do it, we then needed to make contact with the model developer of Incredible Years and talk to them about the possibilities of introducing the programme. Through them, we found out that there was a big Incredible Years programme operating in Wales, and we made connection with them. So we went to Wales to actually do the training, and they supported us in terms of looking at how we were going to roll out and implement the programme. In terms of other agencies, I think because it had started off as an interagency initiative, we had a high level of buy-in from agencies and schools locally in terms of the programme and programme delivery, so that wasn't a big issue. So having trained some of our staff and some staff from key agencies to deliver the programme, we were then on our way to actually implementing it. We didn't have an implementation plan as such, and probably hadn't thought through that second stage as well as we might have. The Incredible Years is a training for trainers type model. So having done the initial training ourselves, we went on to become accredited as trainers and then looked at becoming accredited as peer coaches. So we were developing the skills, so we'd be in a position to provide training for other organisations within the community and further afield if necessary. Again, part of the value of the model is there's inbuilt accreditation processes, which also ensure that the programme is delivered with fidelity. Again, in the short term, we used Dr. Judy Hutchins in Wales, came over and supported us around that piece until we were in a position to actually be able to do it and deliver it ourselves. Initially, when we started to roll out the programme, we were most concerned with training as many people as possible to deliver the programme. But I think subsequent to that, we realised that what's important is sustainability. So it's training the right people and training people within organisations that are going to have the capacity to deliver the programme long term. In a way, it's about how the programme fits in with the service and enhances its capacity rather than a programme per se. We carried out 2 randomised control trials, which are big evaluations on the parent programme. One on the basic parent programme, and that particular one looked at parents who had a child whose behaviour was in a clinical range, so that they were deemed to have a clinical problem. And at the end of the programme, what we found is that for 70% of those children, their behaviour came back to a normative level. We also did an evaluation on a programme that we did for parents who had a child with a pre-ADHD diagnosis. And what we found for that group was that for over 60% of those, their behaviour came back to a normative level. As well as that, we also did a cost-benefit analysis. And what that showed was that for every euro spent on the parent programme, there was a €4 saving. And we feel that that's a very important finding to have made, because it shows that not only is the programme good for parents and families, but it's also good for the economy and good for services. We didn't actually carry out a process evaluation. It wasn't something that we had the funding for at the time. But I suppose over time, what's happened is that we now have come up with an implementation model for the programme, that is very much about matching the programme to the right organisations, identifying programmes that suit organisations to deliver, and sustainability long term. That has facilitated us to roll out the programme to a large number of geographical areas. So currently, Incredible Years will be operating in Galway, in Limerick, in Tipperary, in Ballymun in Dublin, and in Louth there's a big programme, and more recently in Belfast, in West Belfast. I suppose now we would say to people, if you're thinking of rolling out the programme, pick the right Incredible Years programme, because there are different programmes within the overall suite of programmes. So it's important to select the right programme that makes most sense for your organisation. And then I think we'd say to people, think beyond the training. The issue isn't about training as many people as possible as we would have done in the early stages. It is about trying to select the right organisations and the right trainings, and looking at how the programme will enhance capacity and create synergies. You know, it might be that organisations will work together on delivering the programme, which, you know, can add an extra dimension. People can have common referral sources. So again, it encourages organisations to work together. So I think of the programme on a geographical basis, whether that's a small neighbourhood or a city or a big town. I think that's the way to do it. It's about organisations coming together and being able to provide the programme to as many people as possible. I suppose for us, we've found the doing and introducing of Incredible Years to be an incredible journey. And I suppose the best thing about it has been really when you hear parents talking about the impact the programme has had on their family. From a situation where maybe there was a child whose behaviour was disruptive both for themselves but for other children in the family, to hearing parents talking about, you know, being happy spending time together and being able to do that in a constructive manner. So, you know, for us, yes, the economic benefits are important, but they don't match to the benefits that there are for families, and these are long-term benefits. For a lot of these children, the possibility would have been that they were more likely to end up in the criminal justice system. They were more likely to have issues in terms of substance misuse. They were more likely to leave school early. And this programme has demonstrated for the vast majority of those children, that's not what's going to happen. They live normal lives and go on to be productive citizens. So for us, that's been the real value of the programme.